Hey guys, welcome to the stream. I'm just gonna try something in Clip Studio. Let's see. Okay, so if we have to fill everything as a mask in Photoshop, it's gonna take a little while. So we're gonna try to see if Clip Studio helps us with this thing, but I'm not sure. No, we already fucked up. I think there's too many olds. Let's see. There's... Yeah, this is working all right. Well, lasso tool, I mean, yes, but also it will take a while as well. Although there is one, now that you mention, there is one thing in Clip Studio, and let me see if I can find it. I was in the assets. There is the sort of like a lasso feel that should do this, but better. Let's see, view. I think it was. Let me just type feel. Popular. I think it was this one. No, this one. Yes, close and fill tool. This thing. I don't know if it works, but basically, yeah, they're showing it here. You just do this crazy thing, but let's see if it works. If this works, it's just gonna save me so much time. Because normally I would just paint without worrying about, you know, creating a selection, but since this has to go in a book, then we have to make sure that it has a solid background, and I can't just have transparency. So re-download. Perfect. Let's check it out. Materials. There it is. Let's put it here. This says all layers, but let's see if this does what I want it to do. Even just here. It sort of does, but not really. Maybe I can... Well, let's try it on the whole thing. Nope. Just this. Well, it's not too bad. I mean, these edges are nice. This is not exactly what I wanted, but I mean, just getting the edges of time is enough. Like all of this complexity here is definitely nice. I think here we just have some balls. Yes, I can zoom in the lines. Usually, I think I drew this mostly at this size and zooming in at 50%. In the meantime, I'm just gonna try to see. Why is this not working? Let's see. Tolerance. Is this? It's not amazing. Let's see. This is maximum. But this stuff is fine, I can just fill it in manually. I kinda wanted to get this edges though. Yeah, there are a lot of gaps, but it did a decent jobs. It did a decent job. Definitely saves time. Yeah, I think I might just save and then reopen it here. And I can just fill the rest by hand. It's gonna be faster. Then just clean it up. Like all of these is just super fast. Yeah, we'll have to try and maybe close gaps on the next one. Hey Carlo, what's up? How are you doing? Yeah, also always have to remember at which size this thing is gonna be printed. You know, gotta clean it up, but don't have to spend ages for things that might not even be seen. So fine balance. So what is everyone up to this morning? If it's morning for you guys, I don't know. Oh, damn. Time to sleep. Where are you based, if you don't mind me asking? Almost morning. What? Brazil, awesome. Is this your normal like schedule or is it a special occasion? Are you always up until morning? Special. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I could never. Not at this age. Are you the other one? The Brazilian on the live. Awesome. Welcome, welcome, guys. Maybe there's more. We just don't know. Very tired in the afternoon after exercising. Oh, so you did like a very solid nap. Okay, then I see. Makes sense. I love napping. Although, even if I want to, I never go past 30 minutes. Which, I think it's pretty good. Because I never wanna sleep more than that. Otherwise I will feel really tired after waking up. Just looking at this, it looks so weird. I'm just gonna change it. I don't know what I was thinking. Almost like a weird shoe instead of a leaf. Plus this is not continuing there. Let me fix it now. Swatches. Okay, let's see. First we can, well, maybe I'll just do sort of like similar, but a little more thought out. And then we can continue these. It is a little busy, I would say. just simplify. I think I should do just one stream where I study plants. Because it feels like I'm just pulling them out of my ass at this point. They don't make a lot of sense. Okay, these edges are looking all right. Just tweak this plant and I think we're good to start. Finally doing some colors on this one. And I kind of want to experiment. Maybe it's a little, well, it's not late in the project because I only did like 5-6 illustrations, so I wanted to try something slightly different. And I'm maybe gonna start with a different style and then go back to the usual one just for comparison. Okay, I think this is definitely good enough for mask. Just noticing that these character lines are a little faded. Let me just strengthen these lines. Okay. What is the project? The painting is for a series of painting? It's for a Dungeons and Dragons source book that I want to create. And I've been working on it for a while. And I'm really trying to push it forward now. So I'm, making my own company. And then I'm gonna move on to the Kickstarter. But it's basically gonna be a whole, well, depending on how that goes, but it's gonna be a whole thick book filled with interesting stuff, like objects and things you can add to your own game. And I kind of want to go with this retro JRPG vibe. So I'm having, on these other screens, some references for style. And yeah, I did a few. Some I might have to rework because the style slightly changed, and like until now I did this sort of classic-ish watercolor look where I leave this white highlight and it's not completely filled, which I like, but I want to try another one where I fill everything with flat colors, and then I sort of just slightly add a little bit of volume with soft gradients, and that's it. I'm gonna let the line art and some hatching do most of the job. I have a reference that let me see if it's here. Yeah, so this style by Akihiko Yoshida. So you can see that it's completely filled, and it lets all the lines do the heavy lifting basically. So I want to try both things and see which one I like the best. I'm not sure. I have a lot of concept from like Final Fantasy 9, which are really neat, like this. So that's the first thing I'm gonna try with this one. Hey Scar, welcome. How have you been? Let's see. Yes, that's the same artist as Final Fantasy Tactics. I'm not sure about Granblue, to be honest, because I think a lot of people are imitating his style, myself included right now. Even though mine, I guess, it's a little more cartoony and stylized than his is. So I'm not 100% sure, but yes, he was the artist for Final Fantasy Tactics, and he also did Ogre Tactics as well, and Ogre Battle Ogre, and he did so many, honestly. Bravely Default, and now like that illustration that I really like, the Night Girl, he did for a mobile game where he illustrated like hundreds of characters. I admit that I have not played it, but I do want to get to Tactics. I'm playing 9 right now, which it's, even if it's old and I got a little mod that improves the graphics, but it's really charming. Like, has a lot of personality and whimsicalness and design taste to it. So really enjoying it so far. Yeah, I know. A lot of games are just region locked. You don't get that. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. What have you been up to? It's been a while. Okay, yeah, the colors are starting now. I'm just gonna try to fill in the flat for everything. So let's reduce this a little bit. Trying to see if something like this could work for now. The only problem, maybe, it might not be a problem, but this style that just fills in the flat colors, I'm only seeing it on characters. I'm sure there are, there are plenty of examples of artists that do like illustrations and scene with just flat colors. I've seen many, but in this specific like JRPG style, I haven't seen that many. I guess the closest one that I have is this. Like, it's not exactly that, but it's pretty much it. Just filled in. There's a little bit of texture, but this is sort of what I want to try. But we have the power of layers, which is pretty nice. And I think I'm gonna try to like experiment pretty quickly with it. Yeah, this is not. If we go over, it's not super important. But I think I'm just gonna do a test on like this central area first, just to see how that feels. And I might also, one thing that they don't really do, but I like doing, is like maybe just adding a bit of this color variety in places. I think it just looks nicer. And this, I don't know if you guys know, or depending how long you've been known my art, but this is the complete opposite of what I've been doing for the past 10 years. Because first of all, I'm not, I guess I was not, now I am a little bit, but I wasn't really using line art in my artwork. I was just paint directly. So that's definitely a big change of workflow. And I guess, yeah, it feels strange because I'm not exactly painting. It feels like I am just, coloring things in. But I think it's, quite alright. These days I'm living by, the do what's fun in the moment. It doesn't matter if this is not what I do for my job and it's not what I've learned to do for the past 10 years. Just experiment. See what happens. You've seen, yeah. So that was the ArtStation tutorial, is how I've been painted for the majority of the time. With the only difference that I stopped using 3D from that tutorial. Like, I was still using Blender a lot, but I stopped since, because I really wanted to improve my drawing, and I felt like 3D was really helping me like reach a higher level, and it was really useful for many things, and I think it still is. But I stopped using it just because I felt I was not relying on my skill enough. So that was the first, or I guess maybe not the first, but one of the first shifts in my project that sort of pushed me where I am right now. Oh yeah, that stuff was fun. I was one of the early adopters. And VR is really, really fun. Like, I would still do it even just to play around with it. But unless you have, the wireless Oculus, it's really a pain in the ass. Each time I have to crawl under my desk to plug it in, and I have to unplug monitor because I don't have enough. Since I have 3 screens, I don't have enough ports for it to keep it plugged. Plus, it doesn't even work if I leave it plugged, I think. So that was another one of the reasons that got me to stop using it, I feel like. But yeah, I think that is super fun. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like especially when you do those 3D like keyframes and kit bash, it feels that we've seen that a million times already. So I don't really want to add more to it. Not that I ever really did kit bash or like photoreal things, but still, I feel this like just drawing feels more personal as a process. And it feels more, something that I enjoy a lot more enjoyable for me. What was my biggest inspiration to do art? Man, bringing in the hard questions. I would say the biggest inspiration was just that I wanted to work in video games at the time. And I really, really loved Elder Scroll Oblivion. And I think that kind of like cemented it for me back in 2006. I was like, that is beautiful. But at the time, I don't think I even knew you could do art for games. Like, that's the weird thing. I always knew I wanted to work in games, but I started learning coding because for some weird reason, it never occurred to me that you could be drawing. Not that I was any good at it back then, but it's definitely a lot more fun. To me, at least. So I started learning how to code, and then I gave it up because it wasn't really that fun for me. But then just staying online, I learned that people made 3D art for games. So I was like, yeah, let me become a 3D artist. But that didn't last long, because when I was on Polycount forum, which is I think it still is like a pretty big 3D artist community, I asked them, oh, do you have any advice, like anything I can work on? And they said, even if you want to be a 3D artist, you gotta learn the fundamentals. And if you can draw, you're gonna be a better 3D artist for it. So I started drawing, and it was a lot more fun than doing 3D. So I just, I just stuck with it. I guess that was the inspiration. But it's funny because now it's like I love games. I don't play them as much anymore. And also I don't feel like I want to work. At least right now. I don't want to work in games currently. Just trying to find a color that I like here. Yeah, I think the thing with 3D, right, is that it sort of gives you the result very quickly. You can follow some tutorials and get something that looks nice, while if you follow painting tutorials, let's be honest, you're not gonna get something as nice as quickly as 3D. And I think, it can help tremendously to, as you learn how to draw and paint and you want to get jobs, it can help you tremendously to start with 3D bases, because it's gonna solve a lot of problems for you. So I kind of did the opposite of what a lot of quote-unquote traditional artists do, which is, maybe they start with pen and paper, and then they slowly transition into digital, and then they learn 3D. To me, I'm doing the opposite, where in the beginning I was doing 3D and I was photobashing like crazy, because you get those nice sort of semi-realistic results, even though you have not a lot of skill. So I was definitely baited into that. The first shift happened in 2016, and it didn't happen maybe for a good reason, but I'm glad it happened. But basically, I remember when I attended this convention, like IFCC, I was with a group of other Italian artists, and we were just talking and have fun. But I remember for some reason they were sort of making fun of me, like they were saying, "Oh, you can only do photobash and 3D, and you can't draw and paint." I'm not sure why. It was, maybe just in jest, but I took it very seriously. I was like, all right, I'm gonna prove you that I can actually paint. So I stopped photobashing. And I still use 3D, but slightly changed my approach. It was more like as a base rather than as a final render sort of things. So I think that was the first change, stop photobashing, doing those more like realistic things, and start to actually paint stuff. And then later down the road, I stopped using 3D because I wanted to paint things directly. And this was 4 years ago. 4 years ago is where I sort of like, after that ArtStation thingy, I kind of like stopped using 3D. And then 2 years ago, when I got this job into games doing like concept art for an upcoming project for like a year, that really kicked my ass. But at the same time, I started to learn a lot and rely a lot more online. And then slowly but surely, I just kept doing that for my own projects. Because for work, I still do like painting and stuff when I get to, like you might have seen on my Instagram. That's what I still do. But this is what feels really fun, you know. It's very playful in a way, and I think that is very important, you know. And it doesn't mean you waste time or that the stuff that you learn doesn't apply anymore. Like, you can always fall back on it. I think it's just important that maybe you try to maintain it a little bit from time to time. I think that might be a good idea. The mushroom building? No, it's just a little stone lantern. So it's kind of funny. Usually for this project, what I do is first I have the text, right? I have a text, and based on that, I create the illustration. But it is past, I would say, you know, maybe a few days, or, well, no, more like a few weeks. I've been starting with just 2 words for one of the objects, and then I draw the art. And then most likely I'm just gonna give the art to the writer and tell him, you know, this is the idea of the object. So in this case, the name was Gathering Lantern, which later I'm changing to probably Lantern of Plenty, because I like it a little bit better. And the whole idea for this one specifically was that whenever, you know, you place this object down and leave it overnight, it's gonna draw plentifulness and abundance. Like, maybe you get these little gnomes, like, not gnomes, but like fairies, creatures that come in and drop fruits and food for you. Maybe it's gonna, you know, gather small animals. It's gonna, you know, gather water as well. So maybe if you find yourself out in a harsh environment, harsh situation, just living this overnight could give you a little bit of resources to survive for a little longer. So that was the idea that I got from the name of the object. And then I did a few different sketches. Like, that's the idea for this one. Another one I had for Gathering Lantern, it was more like a mind controlling device, meaning that it gathered people around it and it sort of influenced them, kind of like a cult. Like, it could have been used by cult members. So yeah, I do like very quick pencil sketches, and then in this case, like, I scanned it and then I continued digitally. But it's been really, really fun as a process. Problem is, I don't have enough time these days, where it's like I'm not working until, you know, the 28th of this month again. But since I'm trying to open up the company, I'm really busy with like bureaucracy and stuff. Yesterday I went to check some offices and I made an offer on one, which is super exciting, but you know, it does take a lot of work and a lot of energy. Thanks. I'm glad you like it. That's way too saturated. Thanks, man. I hope so too. But at the end of the day, I think, you know, I gotta just jump and try and do my best, and it doesn't matter what happens. Because otherwise I would just, you know, continue making art and always wonder, you know, what might have been if I just tried to do this instead. So at the end of the day, it's like, the attitude that helps me the most is like things are not set in stone, you know? Because it could be, oh, I've seen The Office yesterday and I literally locked it. Like I've seen 3, and these were the first 3 I was seeing. So part of me was like, oh, but you know, maybe I should check a few more and then see if I find the better one or the perfect one. But then I thought, you know, is this good for my need? Yes. And at the end of the day, I can always change it in 1 year, right? It's not like, oh, now I'm stuck with this thing for the rest of my life and I'm fucked. It's like, no, I can always just change it. You know, you have an accountant, you don't like him, next year you change it. So I figure, you know, I just might as well try this thing. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm just, you know, gonna fall back doing what I'm doing right now. Yes, it will be a printed book, indeed. That's the goal. It's gonna be an inspiration guidebook. Yes, I would say so. But it's also gonna have mechanics. Like it's gonna be Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition and, you know, the new one as well compatible. So all the stuff will have mechanics, so you can just drop it in your game. Or if you don't play D&D, you can just use the lore, because it's gonna have the lore and the mechanics. Because, you know, I tried a few different things and I ran some polls and I spoke with a tabletop game designer, like the tabletop RPG game designer. And the general consensus was the lore is amazing. People love the lore, but they also love to not have to prepare all the mechanical stuff. So, you know, even just having the lore, but then saying, hey, you can just grab this thing from the book on the fly as you're playing. You don't even have to prepare it. You can just drop it in your game and it's gonna, you know, it's ready to go. It works. That is very important, apparently, which makes sense. I mean, I've also been mastering games from time to time, and it's definitely nice to have stuff that is already good to go. So I'm trying to get a feel for this thing. Trying to already assess if I like this newish direction. I mean, it might be a little early. Maybe I can also drop in some shadows. They don't necessarily do that always, but I think it helps. This color could just be like this. Too dark? Maybe too dark. The other crazy thing I'm doing right now is just painting everything on the same layer. which is pretty stupid in this case. But it's alright. Yes, I mean, it is effective. I always paint on a single layer, but in this case specifically, I don't think it's a great idea. Just because I'm trying to, you know, paint the shadows and flats and all the object on the same layer, which might not work out. But since it's just a style test for now, it's okay. Okay, so this would be one approach, or maybe we can just try to give the impression of a little bit of shininess to this thing. Nothing crazy. So the other, like the reason also why I chose this style, it's not only because I like it, it's also more for a practical reason, which is if I have to illustrate the whole book by myself and I have to do like hundreds of this illustration, I can possibly like be painting and rendering them as I would normally do, which would take ages to complete. So having something that I could just draw and then fill in the colors ends up working out a lot faster. I'm just gonna, you know, open up some of the old ones, even just for myself to see how they're looking in comparison, and then maybe I'll try to repaint this thing just with the other painterly white highlight style. Funky Squire. Oh, I've seen videos of it, but I have not tried it. So this was the original style and it changed since, like this was a lot more sketchy. Which, you know, this could work, and I like that it's vibrant and more gestural. Actually, I think the very first experiment was this other one. And this one I don't like anymore. I really don't like the colors in this. But the idea was, you know, sort of there. And then I did another one where it was just this. And you can see in all of these, first of all, the lines are like very magenta purple. And also they're kind of like dirty and very thick, which I've since moved away. Not that I don't like this, like I still really like this, but I think I want to have something a little more cleaned and detailed and thin without spending too much time. Hey, welcome. Thank you so much. That's the first time someone tells me, you know, or congratulates me on pencil or line art, because, you know, that's just never happened before. because I don't do enough of it. But you can see like this was a little more thick, and then I think with the latest few ones I did like this. Let me find generic wizard. This is gonna open up the Clip Studio. So this one I started like thinning the lines and integrating it a little bit more into the overall process. And then I did the other one that I showed you before, the troll treasure. This one I did completely in Clip Studio, and I was starting to think I could maybe do it completely in Clip Studio because I really like this watercolor brush. Let me see if I like this, that you can also just grab a color. You can sort of do the same in Photoshop, but it doesn't work as nicely for some reason. And you know, you sort of like have this color that blend into each other, and this feels like really nice and watercolory, which is what I did for this piece. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, but I think it's just because I was as I was saying, it's not something that I did until recently, so it's just natural. But yeah, you can see I'm still finding that style, and I'm gonna try to repaint these, but with that other style, and see if I like one or the other. I do paint with watercolor on occasion when I go outside, but not very often. It's definitely something that I want to do way more of. Wonder. Yeah, I was wondering if I should just maybe try to do in Clip, but no. It's alright, we'll just do it in Photoshop. So, style number 2. I'm gonna try to just pick the same colors, but I have to change the mask. It has to be white, can't be gray, because I'm gonna leave white there. Let's see if we can get these pressure. Does it? Sort of does a similar-ish thing. Yeah, let's try that. Okay. This is how I would maybe normally do this other style. Or this feels like more I would maybe paint this with watercolor. And I can probably already tell that this is gonna feel a little more expressive than the other style. Start here and then we can grab this. I don't know if I want to keep that. Yeah, let's maybe change this to something warm. I have not tried Adobe Fresco, but I tried Rebel, which is great, but it doesn't run that well on my machine. Or rather, it runs well, but it crashes for some reason that I haven't figured out why, so I cannot use it. I really wanted to use it for this project because I think it will work really well, but unfortunately, it does not work. It's not stable enough. But no, I have not tried Fresco. The other thing though is that I sort of don't want to jump around software too much. And I mean, I could just, if Lines in Fresco works well, I could just do everything with that one. But I think this is still like a decent compromise. Okay, I'll give it a go. Is it on desktop as well, or is it just tablets? Tablet and PC. Nice. Yeah, I'll look it up. Thank you. This brush is working nice, but I also want to introduce more like rounds. Whoops. Damn it. I'm fucking up the colors. Wait. This should actually be in here. Alright. And this should be in here. And I'll just I remember doing our session challenge alongside you a few years ago. I was amazed by your submission and it's been a blast seeing your evolution. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Was it the mystery box one? Because I did two. I did the Feudal Japan and the mystery box. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, nice. Yeah, that challenge was really fun. It was really good. I still had it in my portfolio until recently. I mean, I'd still put it in. It's just that I haven't fixed my website yet. But it was really nice because I started from just writing the story a little bit of the place. And then from there, I just started with the drawing after I did some writing. And that has been really nice. And it's probably what I'm gonna suggest to one of my upcoming students for the mentorship. because we're always eager to just start, you know, putting pencil to paper, and you know, I get it, I'm like that as well. But I think there is a lot of power in just writing stuff first. The only problem with this quote unquote trick to like blend the colors with each other is that I can't control it as nicely as I'd like to. Like I would basically have to switch and change the color every 2 seconds, which sort of defeats the purpose. I'm just gonna keep it as it is. Yeah, I think, you know, guys, you know what? I'm probably not gonna go with this new style. This one looks a lot more fun. And it's even a lot more fun to draw. I tried. I really wanted to see if it was, you know, something that could be worth looking into. But I think this is more like chaotic style fits me best. Oh yeah, the NDA stuff. Man, don't get me started on it. Don't get me started. I have some stuff that I made a few years ago, like 3 years ago, that, you know, I still kind of like, but I asked and I think the project was cancelled, so they're just gonna sit there forever, which, you know, it's too bad. But then there is another one, the project that I was talking about earlier, the upcoming game, and I did, I don't know, think I have like close to 200 pages of concept art for it. Not all of it is good, but I have a lot of stuff that I really like, so I hope they will announce it soon. Otherwise, you're just gonna sit there. I really don't want that. Even though, you know, right now, with the fact that I'm starting my own company and doing like board games, I don't really need it. It's just gonna sit there anyway, because I'm not planning to apply to any job or company. Like right now, I'm gonna continue with Sun Creature as long as I can. But then if the Kickstarter is a success, of course the plan is like do this full time. That would be really, really amazing. I don't dare to, you know, hope too much, but that's the idea. Yeah, right? You know, it gives you a lot of space to be creative with ideas when it's not like, I don't know, I haven't checked the challenges to be honest, but if it's like, oh, dragon nest or shit like that, you don't really have. I mean, you can be creative, but when it's more abstract, it's really fun. You can really be creative and do crazy things with it. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Definitely gonna see if it works out. Gonna give it my best shot. At the same time, I'm not gonna start by myself. I'm gonna hire a friend of mine. He's gonna take care of all the stuff that we artists are not very good at. So he's gonna take a look at, you know, all the admin things or building a community, looking into the Kickstarter or getting in touch with, you know, D&D influencers, things like that. Because if I had to take care of all of that myself, it will never, it will never be done. Because it's just, you know, too much stuff between the company and the all the project production itself. I think I just want to have a little more vibrancy here. But yeah, I think the verdict is that we're gonna stick with this style. Cool. It was a nice test. Anyway, it's good to experiment. And I still have a lot to learn on handling this specific process, I feel like. Oh, look how much the secondary color influences the primary, because this is a lot more saturated. Let's see if it's less. So yeah, I can make for some happy accident, I guess, here and there. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because you can sort of control the undertone. Well, not the undertone. Like, if I have a more neutral gray, I'm like, oh, you know, I want to have like a warmer gray. I can just do these, but then maybe I want to, you know, cool it, and I can just grab these and maybe add more of these like light blue into it, and then the same gray, you know, is gonna be much cooler. This is interesting, although it's still a little tricky to control, to me at least. But it can make for some fun experimentation. Color wizardry, yes, it's weird. Really weird. But have you guys tried, or do you guys know the Tor box? You've probably seen the ad for it, because it's been spammed like everywhere, I feel like. It's the little controller for painting that you have all the little wheels and buttons. Right, the only thing is that if you're not careful, it's gonna kill your color sometimes. Because right now, it's not allowing me to get this nice bright orange. So, yeah, it might be a good idea to just dock this panel somewhere, like here. Reduce it. Wait. Oh my god, I can't make it smaller than this? Damn it. Can I dock it? That doesn't change anything. Damn it, Photoshop. I'll just toggle it. Keep it here. Sometimes it's really annoying when I need a nice, a nice pure color. It doesn't allow me to do that. Try not to dock it. Let's see. Nope. Still way too thick. Doesn't go any thinner than this. But it's okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can just leave it here. Maybe I can set a shortcut on the toolbox. Yeah, this thing, I use it, yes, it looks terrible, and I never liked the controllers, but now that I have it, I can't work without it. It feels like second nature. I don't have to go like Control A, Control S, or like whatever, all that crap. And with this thing is, you know, it's very immediate. I have to, you know, change brush size. I can, you know, just, you know, move the wheel. I have to rotate the canvas, move the other wheel, or I don't know, switch to razor, back to brush, or next brush. And I can just cycle through my brushes. I love it. It's really, really good. They're not paying me, by the way, to say any of this. I just really enjoy using it. I tried other controllers, you know, the ones with all the buttons and one like those touch wheels, but they don't feel nice. This thing though, this thing feels very nice. Oh, whoops. I wasn't. Cool, cool, cool. I'm already getting hungry, but I'm gonna hold on for another hour. And then I can have my lunch. Yeah, now they just released that new one that is like works with the iPad and it's kind of like wireless. It's really good. But I don't want to get another one. I really don't. I could get it for the office maybe, just because I have to get a new laptop and I'm gonna bring like my iPad and a new laptop and probably gonna work with like an Intuos rather than a Cintiq at that point. At least to start off on the office. Then, you know, it could be nice to have it for the iPad or just wireless. We'll see. I don't want to spend too much. Really gotta be mindful with money, you know, as I start this new thing. The red of this apple is really annoying. It's just red. And you'd be like, duh, you know, apples are red, but I want a different kind of red. And this might change. But for now, we can just do a little bit of that. Am I using watercolor brushes? Yes, I am. And they come for a couple different sets, but the one that I'm using right now is from Lane Brown watercolor brushes. It's really nice. I don't remember if I changed it too much, but it's pretty good. And then I messed with the settings and I got these other guys from an ArtStation watercolor set, which I don't remember right now. But it's one of the most popular ones. And then I, you know, applied the setting to these guys because they were like really textured and I didn't want that. I wanted something that is, you know, more smooth. Works pretty nicely. Actually, let me continue with this for a little bit. It's like I'm noodling around. Let's try to be more decisive with it. Another thing that this might feel strange or weird to say, but I struggle with creating a nice patch of watercolor grass. Like, not the individual blades, just, you know, this gradient of mixed colors. And in this case, I might actually go back to this one. So we can mix maybe some warm green with some cooler and see what happens. I'm not sure. This is not so bad. I can create more variety after the fact, but this is already pretty nice. And we can maybe just darken this, darken this. I really need to learn how to make this style traditionally. I think it would be really fun. But at the same time, it's not the right moment for it. Because basically all of this stuff right now is gonna go into the sample of the book. And you know, I need it to be nice and I need it to be out of the way as soon as possible. Because the marketing agency has, you know, different clients, they have certain timelines, so. And this is gonna be all stuff that probably makes it into the marketing material for the project. Whoa, let me disable it. Whoops. Like this. So I don't think it's the right time to be experimenting too much with process. There is, so I feel there is a disconnect in the color right now, currently. Which is these greens against these reds of the apple are really bothering me. Yeah. And I think the reds are just too much. So let's try to tame these colors. I'll try to cool it. Reduce the saturation a little, maybe brighten. Yeah, pull it a little bit. Yeah, definitely too much attention on those reds. They're not the main star here. Like they're part of the composition. They shouldn't be so crazy. I mean, I can always adjust as I go, but I want to catch this stuff earlier rather than later. Let's see. And I think maybe this grass we can... get slightly more chill. Yeah, might also just be the case of going like in and covering it with some blades of grass later, stuff like that. I think I can just probably erase that apple, to be completely honest with you guys. Like, it's nice, but it's a little bit in our face. That's the beauty of it. I can just kill it whenever. Apple Leaf to Neon. But yeah, but I think I'm just gonna erase it. So for now I can stay there. Because I like how the other colors are communicating with each other. But that's just not doing it for me. Stupid apple. Let me try to do this. I'm gonna mask it just in case, you know, we change our mind. I think I can put something else there. Maybe like a little animal or a flower. Something like that. Thank you for stopping by. Have a great rest of your day. Or good night, wherever you are. Take care. We're just gonna continue for a little longer. I wonder if we can mess around with these greens a little. I like when they're like really cold greens for some reason. I don't know, it just feels nice. I'm a fan of the cool green gang. So I'm gonna change these like cooler. All right. I think later on I might just, or even right now, I can just mess around with some gradient maps. Let's see, gradient map, spotlight. Just experiment. I like to see, like, look at this. I really like this. Feels like I don't have enough cool, quite cool in the sense of temperature, not good looking, but cool illustrations. I don't have that many. kind of dig this. This is too much. Not bad. But usually, you know, when things sort of already work in relationship to one another, it's a lot easier to do this sort of thing, where you just try. This one is kind of fun. Maybe like tone down the magenta on the apples, but you know. Like a good choice. Let me remember which one that is in the purple second row. This one probably not gonna work. Pinks, nah. Red's probably not gonna work for the same reason. This just makes it look like a almost monochrome. Greens, I'm weak to green, but I don't think we're gonna go with that. No, I think it's gonna be a choice between those two. Like this or this. And I think they're very similar actually. But this just gives it a nice extra purple kick, so I might just go with this one. But at the same time, let's see what happens if we maybe make the, you know, make the worm pop a little bit. Is it crazy? Just a little bit of worm? Yeah, I don't like the worm in this case. Nah, fine. I'm just gonna tone down the apples. Yeah, it feels a little nightish, right? Which I don't mind, actually. It's just a change, because you can see that there's like, oh, green, yellow, sun, whatever. This is green, yellow, sun, whatever. And this is also like neutral, but green grass, whatever. So it feels like it would be nice to have something that is slightly different colors. I mean, this is okay. It's not bad. But... Another thing that I like playing around with is just shifting this around. You often get like some crazy results, but if you don't move it like too much, like maybe something like this, with the exception of these pink apples, could also be nice. And you could also like combine it, like maybe do these, move it around, or first you change it and then you move it around. But I think I already found the sweet spot, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna change it. Maybe the only thing that I will change is that magenta of the apples. Oh no, not this. Remove these. I just want to change that. It's still grabbing these colors. Come on. Yeah, I just want to change those apples. Slightly warmer, less intense. That's better. They're like punch in the face. And I'm gonna keep it as a backup copy, just in case. The other thing that might be helpful that I really don't do, which I should maybe and start doing it, is do like color tests before, like just find a palette and try to stick with it. I tend to be more experimental, which, you know, it works. But I end up sometimes changing my mind this way, where it just, you know, maybe find a color that I like some more and I want to get a different feeling. But as long as it doesn't slow the process, like if you find yourself constantly changing your colors completely or going for a completely different vibe, then maybe it might be better to just do some color studies first. But if you're not wasting that much time, then you know, it's okay. I like to think of it in that case if, you know, you're approaching it more like artists of old, meaning that, you know, they didn't have the luxury to do these changes, so they had to do all that stuff before, like really experiment with the composition, the values, kind of like when you're doing thumbnails, basically. But do that for color palettes as well. Yeah, like thumbnails, exactly. But I haven't seen a lot of people do that for, like, maybe when you do individual objects or character, you get this design variation, like different color palette. But and I've seen, of course, like color keys for animation, like you can do different color keys for the same scene. But like exploring different palettes with maybe the same lighting direction or lighting intensity, but just different color palette, I have not seen that much of, to be honest. Which, you know, maybe it's something that I will have to look into. Could be interesting to see how it changes the process. And I think it's usually better because you're making the choice based on something. You know, right now I'm just saying, oh, you know, I like this color, so I'm just gonna use this color. But I think there could be a different way of reasoning, saying I want to convey a feeling of warmth, of coziness, or I want this to be feeling cool and fresh. So then you pick a palette that works for that instead of just, you know, using random colors. But there is no right or wrong way to go about it. I just think there are different ways depending on your needs. You can, you know, try different things. Hey, Lockerix, thank you. Yeah, we be fishing. Just kind of want to see if I can change this wall out to be something else. I don't want it to be warm because then it's warm on warm. But I also don't want it to be too similar to the water, because right now it's a little too similar. I think I'm just gonna bring it slightly back to what it was before. Something like this. We had this before. Oh wait, I forgot to turn off this layer. Oh, okay. It was kind of doing something for me, especially in this rock, like this warm tones there. It's kind of nice, but yeah, no. Let's keep it off for now. You like the non-gradient map more? I don't. I don't, because it feels too neutral. It doesn't have a strong identity. Like maybe if I like added more warmth to it, or even just strengthen the color, Like, this is alright. It feels more happy. Well, of course, like, this is darkish and blue. Well, maybe you're right, but we'll see. The problem is, if I go with something like this, I'm just doing the same. More of the same, which, you know, it's high key, kind of like bright light. How do you get to have the nice watercolor physics? Well, this is not, I wouldn't say it's watercolor physics, but it's, first of all, check out Lane Brown's watercolor set. You should find it on our station, but a lot of it boils down to having the dual brush set on linear height and having a big size. If you do that with, like, you play around with that setting, you should get something that feels more like watercolor. Right now, I'm not sure why it's not. Wait, what? Okay. So this is like what that does. Feels pretty nice. And you, of course, you can just mess around with the setting if you want. Completely different look. And I've been, you know, I've been experimenting a little, like different shapes, but I'm pretty happy with these results. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Let me try let me try something, because I wanted to just slightly cool down the shadows, and then maybe I think we can bump this up. Mind fresh. Well, thank you. That's sort of what I hope to go for. So, really appreciate it. And it's still sort of figure this as you go kind of process. Was this is this a foam brush that basically the more you, like, if you just put down a stroke, it's kind of like flat, but the more you paint with it, the more transparent it becomes, which is it's kind of interesting. It's not the easiest one to control, but you know, it can give you some nice effect like that. You need to reverse your brain? Yes, basically. Doesn't make it super easy, but it's pretty fun. Especially when maybe you just want to glaze a little. So if I do this, it's like, oh, maybe it's too strong, so I just keep going over it and it disappear. It's kind of strange. Reverse opacity based on pressure. The more you press, like the longer you press, the less color you have. Okay, so I think I've been noodling around on this stuff for a little too long. I kind of want to start adding some colors to these characters. And I have no idea about their color scheme, but I think they're sort of like foresty, pixies kind of things. Sprites. maybe we can. I'm thinking cool color like an emerald green, forest green, or like some darker blues or purples. But I also don't want it to look like a wizard hat, so maybe purple is not the best color. So let's just start with this. Let's just plug this in. Would probably be useful to make a mask for this guy. And this is why I like this style, because it allows me to be a little more, you know, messy, but it kind of feels like it's the charm of the style a little bit. I can be a little more freeform, at least in the coloring stage. Because I like when you see these strokes, sort of. Okay, so I'll probably keep the hat on a separate layer for now, so we can play around with these colors. This is definitely gold. And then just gonna use this for a fake black feather. Wait. Oh, this is actually funny because then I don't know if you guys saw the last video I uploaded, but I created a new intro, and now this guy's gonna have different colors. But I think it's just the way it is, because this is this is how I painted it, and he didn't even have the final color, like the final lines on him. And now it's gonna have different colors as well. Everything is different. But I just wanted to try something for the YouTube channel, so who cares? Probably change it. Update. And I'm gonna do the rest of his body and face on a separate layer. Slightly red nose, slightly red cheeks, mouth, coloring these, and I wanted to make him like blonde, but no, I think I'm gonna go with the same thing that I did the other version, just make him dark-haired. So kind of use the same purplish. So that works. I don't know. Part of me feels like you should have blonde hair. But damn it. It's so hard to decide. Let's try. Like a stray sort of color. Oh, sorry, not stray. Just that the values are kind of getting lost a little bit. We'll see. For the shirt, I like the other version, that it's like white. So we only add a bit of shadow to it. And this can be gold. I remember how I did his pants. I forgot. Let's see if it's... Am I always doing live? I do want to try to do like a weekly live. I'll see if I can maybe find a same time. But if you're not on the Discord, please come to the Discord because I always notify it there for sure. And then I'll try to notify Instagram as well. But that might not always happen. So if you want to, stick around, find the streams, then the community in the description is definitely where. But yeah, I will try to have frequent streams because it's pretty chill. It's pretty fun. I also prefer YouTube than Twitch. I don't know. Twitch felt a lot more stressful. This is, I don't know, it's more laid back. So, well, thank you for stopping by, and I hope to see you in the next stream. I want to make this look like it's like a berry, maybe. So I can, if it's a blueberry. Okay. Slightly change it this way. Also have to remember that this, once it's printed, it's probably gonna be like this size. And well, depends on the screen you guys are looking at. This. It's gonna be probably 15 centimeters across, something like that. So it's not like super big or anything like that. Will be interesting to see. Okay, now his pants are looking like bare legs. So let me... Maybe we could make him have like green pants. Yeah, so at least there's a color that recalls the hat. Alrighty. And not to just play around with this. Warmer green. Could be nice. Red, I don't like. Blue, nah. No, I think I'm gonna keep it green, just maybe make it a little warmer instead. What do you guys think? Warm green or cool green? I'm biased. I always like cool green more than I like warm green. And of course I will have to change this back maybe. I kind of like the I kind of like the cool one. I know you're partial to the warm ones, but I don't know. Yeah, I think I prefer the mind one. Maybe because it's a little more similar to the brass as well. This feels like it's not anywhere else, but just in case I might switch the overall vibe of the image later. But I think right now, in terms of palette, this fits a little bit better. Let me just quickly throw some colors here. Something like warm tones. And I really like this. Flowers, I always like to go with like lilac flowers for some reason. And I think I do want to have a little more white in the water. Bit of reflection. Could even have green. I will also have to see if I maybe add a cast shadow on him. I might not, just because it might make things a little bit harder to read, but I think it's worth a shot. This could be like a white butterfly. Glad you like the purple flowers. There's gonna be a couple more right here. Yeah, the purple flowers are nice. I always end up doing those. Either like light blue maybe sometimes, but oftentimes this is the color. Wait, this is I also don't like these blades of grass here in the back. It feels very weird. Let me just erase. It just feels weird. I think I'll just skip it. And simply grab this pencil. Just indicate this mushroom. Colors of the mushrooms are gonna be another interesting matter. And I think at the end I might just change the fruit or find a way to like integrate it a little bit better in the palette. I think I might just, because he's bringing like a blueberry, so I might change it to like grapes, blueberry, maybe strawberries, like smaller things. I think that might, and then I could also have an easier time integrating the color with this palette. So I might just have to redraw like this couple areas. Yeah, maybe something similar to the flower for the mushroom could be nice. Definitely worth experimenting. Let me first fill in the other character. Just not. Just wanna have something like this. Little camouflage hats. Of course, they're a forest creature. They don't want to be found. You know how that is. And it kind of like gives them the leprechaun sort of vibe, which I think it's all right. Because that's sort of the idea. Slightly. Maybe she could have a very fun color for her hair. Just yeah, camouflage hats, and then she has purple hair. Just in case, you know, shit doesn't pan out. Exactly. That's her only chance not be seen. A little bucket. Yeah, it's great to not to think about how much work this is going to be, because I have a feeling that if I did that there's no going back, realizing how many illustrations this whole thing would take. Also, in the meantime, I think my headphones died, so I don't know if you guys can still hear the music, but doesn't matter. Right, well, they decided to die, but I wanted to wrap at midday anyway, so I think we can call it. And it's pretty close, but I still think it needs another hour or so work. And I'm probably gonna do it later. It's just that there is a technician that has to come to fix my broken um, broken blinds. Is it blinds? Well, but basically I've been completely shut out from the outside world in my studio. Um, so it's not great, to be honest. Like not being able to see the outside and having the light turned on during the day. Otherwise, it's complete darkness. Not loving it. But that said, thank you guys so much for tuning in for this stream. Probably gonna jump back in, I would say 2 hours from now, but you know, if you can't make it, that's totally fine. Um, I'm not gonna be on for that long. I just want to finish this illustration uh, later, so it's gonna be final touches and then tweaking colors and things like that. But thank you so much for stopping by. It's been really, really fun. And you know, if you're not already part of the Discord community, there's a link in the description or in my uh, Instagram profile. If you want to catch up, there are new events coming on, so we're gonna do study session together. We're gonna, you know, learn things or practice things together. So if you want to join that, uh, please check out the Discord community. But until then, Thank you so much and have a wonderful time. See you guys. Take care.